The Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you by... Oh, now all my things are screwed up. God damn it. Ah, jeez. Ah, whatever. It's brought to you by patreon.com/JuRY. Go there. Give me money. Or not. We're totally fine either way. If you want to just listen to the show, just listen to the show. It's totally cool. If you'd like to give me money, it'd be very appreciative. I really like it. It helps me live a life where I can do more of this kind of stuff and less of other kind of stuff. It's patreon.com/JuRY. And head on over to bit.ly/votingpin. Again, bit.ly/votingpin. Brand new Contender branded lapel pins. They look gorge, man. Absolutely beautiful. Style and profile your way into the voting booth with the Contender lapel pin. We only got a handful of these left. Like, I'm talking very low double digits. So go ahead there. It'll probably be gone within a week. bit.ly/votingpin. But what do you say we go ahead and start the show?
Ugly, and I said, girl, ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby, but that's fine. You're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're alright by mine.
I gotta see another Possum Posse show, man. It's been too long since I went out and saw Jomo and the boys. Get it on. If you're in the Austin area, do yourself a favor, go see them. If you don't live in the Austin area, do yourself a favor and go pick up their albums. Hit them up on Twitter. Every once in a while, I always think it's great that people who listen to this show and are turned on by that song are like, yo, what's that song? And I get to shout out the Possum Posse because they rule. I love them. They are the bomb. So, hi, everybody. My name is Justin Robert Young. This is the Justin Robert Young podcast. Just a window into my soul. We're still wrestling with this time thing. I thought today I was going to try something different. Normally, I go live at 7 o'clock West Coast. That's 10 o'clock East Coast. I figured I was going to bump it back a little bit today because there was a lot of like big ticket events happening. I had a wrestling pay-per-view, had a World Series game. You had a Sunday Night Football. Just a lot going on. So I figured I'd bump it back. But now I'm more tired. So we're wrestling. I don't know. I mean, I was watching wrestling, but we are metaphorically wrestling about when to do this show. Because for whatever reason, Sundays are we're fighting. We're fighting against Sundays. Or rather, I don't know. I don't even know how to put it. I feel like you just have this like circadian rhythm. Well, Spookus one says I could do it right before Weird Things, right? But that has its own conflicts. Or I can do it after, but doing it after means that I'm always going to be doing I'm always going to be doing this show after another 3 hours of broadcasting, which I don't know if that's ever great. I don't know well, I don't know, maybe Twitch. Twitch is one of those things where it's like, oh, it really got rad after hour 4, right? It's not always like, oh man, you want to know when that was when that was great? During the 4th hour. Hours 1 through 3 allowed me to hold my attention on the product for, a minimum viable product. But really, oh, geez, light the rockets and send this show into the stratosphere when hour 4 happened. So I don't know. I don't even know if this is interesting to anybody. I don't know if the idea of me talking about when I can do the podcast or when I should do the podcast is interesting in any way. Maybe it is. Maybe people are listening to this and they're saying, well, I have to think about when I'm going to do things too. This is now relatable. I'm reaching out my hand. You reach out your hand. And we can clasp them. So I don't know. Yeah. What else are we going to talk about today? I got a lot of emails. People have been emailing the show. I really like it. I'm really glad that we are, I think maybe what the continued evolution of this show, I think is going to be, the back and forth, the emails, because that's always been what I've thought is like the most special thing about this show. Like, yeah, it's me talking for an hour, right? But even now that I'm doing 3 hours of the politics stuff, by myself, it's not the most that I do where I talk to myself for an hour, right? But what's special is when people start spilling their guts and they start asking and talking about things that they wouldn't want to talk about otherwise. So all this episode is going to revolve around emails. And I would love to keep it like that. I would love for everybody to email stuff in. I mean, this is a good time to do this. Because we are entering into the fall and winter seasons, which means seasonal depression. So if you're feeling low, then go ahead and hit up your boy Jerbs. Yeah, last week I was the millennial Andy Rooney, and now I'm old guy strong bad. Going to check my email. So all right. Let's get into it. I got an email that made this point. Said he very much appreciated whenever I talked about relationship stuff, and we've got more relationship stuff that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But that he felt that there was one element of my advice for which I consistently skipped over. And that was this: the existence and understanding of wholesale rejection. That society, relationships, meeting people, we like to focus on all the good, fun stuff, right? But ultimately, if you're going to, if you're going to really move this forward, right? Like, you have to understand that the other side, the flip side of this coin is rejection. The flip side of this coin is that things are not going to go your way. The flip side of this coin is that you are going to get your hopes up and they will be dashed. You will feel lesser about the situation. You will feel lesser about yourself. Now it got me thinking about rejection. Got me thinking. Because certainly, I think it is maybe at its most painful when you're dealing with romantic rejection, right? Or when you're thinking about professional rejection. But I think that it permeates all of life. Like, how much of your life and your decision making, be honest with yourself right now, is shaped by your fear of rejection? I would say a lot of it. Like, because it's even kind of ingrained. Do you ever do this thing where you're like, you're about to do something, you have a thought, you get to the end of that thought, I'm going to go down and pick something up, right? I should go meet my friends at the bar. I should go meet my friends at a concert. And you have completed the thought. It's like gone from germ of an idea and then insta-sprouted into a full plant. And then all of a sudden, you just think, but maybe it won't go well. And you don't do it. Kind of weird, right? It shows that one little idea has power. And it's a corrosive idea. Because I do this all the time, where it's like, I'll have that idea. Oh, I should go somewhere. Cool. And I'm thinking about every element of it. I'm thinking about, well, am I going to take the BART? Am I going to drive? I'm thinking about, well, am I going to do it before or after a podcast? How is this going to happen? Who am I going to see? What am I going to wear? I'm thinking about all of it. All the logistics are covered. Then all of a sudden, there's just this like, oh, maybe they hate me. Maybe it'll be awkward. Maybe I won't like it. And initially, the first idea is like fighting back. It's like, whatever. That's a dumb thought. If they don't like you, you can leave. You can just go. Like, it's not the end of the world. The chances that you're going to have a good time far outweigh the chances that you're not going to have a good time. You should just go. And that idea initially seems strong. Strong. The big dog. Strong. But then that rejection idea, right? Like, it's just corrosive. Yeah. It just starts dissolving away. And that idea that you were going to do something, that idea that you were going to break out of your comfort zone, that's the strongest that it will ever be right before the rejection seed pops in. And meanwhile, that rejection seed just dissolves and erodes, turns everything else into little fine particles, blowing out into the breeze like so many dandelion particles. And then you just wind up ordering Chinese food and, watching Spaceballs again. But let's swing back to romantic rejection, because this is very important. You have to wonder exactly how important romantic rejection is. Let's think about it for a second, shall we? What goes into making romantic rejection more painful than, let's say, getting denied a credit card? Painful, but nobody's got a crazy story about how they got denied a credit card. Reputation is one of them. Not only is it romantic stuff is something that makes you happy, but because it is something that is such a common thread throughout all of society, it is something that is talked about a lot. So your humiliation will very likely not be private. Somebody's going to talk to somebody, and now, because everybody has an idea of what that is, people will either feel superior to you or feel pity for you. Either are something that, in general, we like to think about. Number 2, there's the idea of hierarchy, right? We all have an idea that we are, either higher or lower on a list. You walk into a room and you think, well, I don't know. I think I'm probably more handsome than that person, or more pretty than that person. I think I'm probably smarter than that person. And it ain't like, mean, really. It's just we have pattern recognizing brains. And we always want to sort. We're like sorters. We constantly want to put ourselves in some places. And sometimes we perpetually put ourselves lower, and some people put themselves higher, right? But there are a few situations in life where you have to have the rubber meet the road. Where you have to put yourself out there a little bit. You've got to submit your credit card application and see how it comes back. So, sometimes even if you think that you are lower than somebody else that you are romantically attracted to, you make overtures and you are rejected, well, makes you feel that you're at this lower place and you'll never be anywhere else, right? But on the other hand, if you have somebody that you're romantically interested in and you believe that they're higher than you, then and they accept your credit card application, whoa, you're like, whoa, look out for number one, rocketing out of the basement. It's me. Maybe I'm not so bad after all. It's weird, right? I remember one time in high school, I had a crush on this girl, and I asked her out, and she said yes, and I was so excited. I literally did one of those, like, jump up in the sky and, like, touch your heel things, like, in front of her. I don't know if ultimately that was a good move. Like, the relationship lasted maybe 7 days. I have a feeling that it was sealed right there. She's like, I don't know if I would really like to be involved in a heel click relationship. I think that was it. I think I got buried right there. So there's a little, I don't know. Ladies, email in, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. If a guy asked you out and you said yes, and then he immediately heel clicked while walking away from you, is that a plus or a minus? I'm curious. I think it was a minus for me. I think that it was definitely something that did not work in my favor. But I don't know. Maybe I just got the wrong chick. Maybe it was just the wrong way to go, right? I don't know. I think those are probably the two biggest things, right? Reputation and your internal hierarchy. And I guess in some ways they kind of tie together, right? But the one thing that rubbed me not the wrong way, but brought a thought up in my head when Homeboy wrote in and said that you need to talk about wholesale rejections, is that I do think that that's one strategy to deal with them, is to gird for failure. To gird for the idea that we are going to take these missile shellings and either we can be prepared for them or we cannot. So let's assume that I am going to be rejected always. And so that way, when good news rolls in, it'll be all the sweeter. And I don't know if I believe in that. I mean, I know that it's probably a good way to go if that clicks for you, because everybody's brain works differently. But I think the healthier way, in my opinion, coming from a man who heel clicked after a girl said yes to dating him, so take this one with a grain of salt, is to understand and devalue the concept of rejection altogether. And the way that I've done that is by understanding how much I reject stuff in my daily life without thinking. Also, it helps if you not only recognize how much you reject in life, but just go ahead and reject some stuff randomly. Like, just make a point, homework this week, make a point to just, like, don't try to hurt anybody's feelings or anything, but just the things that you would normally blindly say yes to, just say no. No, I'm not going to do it. It's not my thing. Not today. Not this week. I'm going to go ahead and just say no. Now, the reason why I think that this is important is because you are going to put yourself more and more in the mind of the person that's rejecting you, which I think makes it easier. It's like theory of mind, right? Now, Knott's in the chat room. Now I'm the millennial Nancy Reagan telling people to just say no. Jesus. So let's say, same situation. And I'm going to use guy, girl, with the guy being the first person because that's what I have the most, the most history with. Let's say I was going to try to make an overture toward a lady that I had a crush on. It would make it easier if the answer was no, if I understood more, I sympathize more with her. If I understood, like, and not in a beat yourself up kind of way where it's like, yeah, of course you gotta say no because I'm a fat moron. I hate myself. Why am I hating myself? Like, if you just say, hey, you want to know what? Maybe she's got somebody else that she has a real crush on, right? And she feels that that would be an infringement to deal with me. Maybe she had no idea that I was interested. Maybe she has to reframe some stuff in her head, you know? There's a lot that goes into it. It's not always about you. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that you are ultimately going to do the most damage to yourself when you yourself are the judge, jury, and executioner. The more you can complicate it with other people's points of view, the more you realize that life is a big, gigantic, chaotic mess, and that not everything is a direct reflection on society's opinion of you. Now, often you want to be more selfish in life. You often want to think more about yourself and your own well-being. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to judge everyone else's actions just as a reflection of you. And I think that's where the idea of you need to focus on wholesale rejection when talking about when talking about romantic stuff, right? You just want to be able to think to yourself, how would I be reacting if I were them? Empathy. Empathy's rad, man. I really think that if there's one thing, I don't think that we've necessarily lost empathy as a society, but it is something that I really love about the online units that we've created, is I feel like in general they're very, very empathetic. I like that. I like that. I don't think that there's enough of it out there. I don't think there's enough people trying to put themselves in other people's shoes. All right, let's get into these emails. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Again, JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Ryan writes, I got turned on to JuRY from Politics, which I got turned on to via Night Attack, which I got turned on to via TMS, which I listened to because I really like the instance. Boy, howdy, am I glad I did. Never tried to reach out to a show or a creator before, but I've never felt the need to thank a creator like this before. I am what is colloquially called an F-up, but hell, that's what I think of myself. I'm not sure that's objectively I'm doing just fine. And I don't have a huge network of friends. In fact, my network is almost non-existent. And the friends that I do keep close aren't people that I can share stuff with. It's not the fault of the friend, it's just me. I don't like to be vulnerable. And that's why I need to thank you. Not that I've had any kind of breakthrough and become a functional adult. No. But because I know what it's like to feel isolated, to bottle stuff up. Because short of telling a stuffed animal, there's no place for it. It's just good to know that there's a place where people can go where they can talk and not feel judged, and where the community doesn't judge. Just wanted to let you know that you're really great and inspiring. Well, hell, maybe one day I'll write you with a big old bag of issues when I'm a little older and a little more drunk. Oh, BT dubs. I bought the Contender, and as of roughly December-ish, I'll be able to tell you how well it resonates with Aussies. I'm going to try and play it with the fam, who are slightly right-wing and just a tad bit racist. All right. So thank you so much, Ryan. And this kind of goes to what we were saying, right? Like, what's with people being mean? I mean, this is just such hack 80s material. But it's like, man, like, there's just a lot of people just, like, being angry. A lot of people, like, being very sure of opinions. Here's something that I'm very distrustful of. People who are very sure of opinions. Like, you can have a strong opinion, but I feel like in any conversation about anything, if it goes more than 15 minutes, one or both people in the conversation should say, hey, I might be an idiot on this, right? Like, that should just be something that's always out there. It should be something that, like, we all understand. Because the fallibility of human thought is a constant. We're all susceptible to it. It ain't about being dumb or smart or being born in a certain place or with a certain income level. Like, everybody can be fooled. Everybody can be mistaken. So it blows my mind when you check in on Twitter and it's just like, oh man, strong opinion. Gary writes, I just had an interesting conversation with a coworker who I look up to. He said that he became very weary of me due to my over-complimenting nature, a behavior he labeled as ingratiation tactics. This was never my intention. I look up to him and guess I was just too praising of his actions and results. My question is, what is your tactic for critical thinking and or evaluation of ideas? I think that I've been using compliments or deferential language as a placeholder for my own thoughts or critiques. While they are all true, I need to be able to say something that adds to the conversation thought plan. All right. This one's good. I like this. All right, Sleepy Gary, let's break it down. Compliments. Compliments are only as good as where they came from. Like, if you know somebody hates you and they give you a compliment, you're going to take that as venom. I'm going to guess that your coworker thought that him rejecting your compliments means he is judging you for something. And I'm going to take a guess as to what. I'm going to guess that he believes that you are inauthentic. Now, that could be his opinion, or maybe you're inauthentic. I don't know, Gary. I'm going to go with it's his problem because as of right now, I like you more than I like him because you wrote into my show and he didn't. But let me see if this makes sense. The way that you compliment him is not about the compliments, it's about everything else around the compliments. So maybe for whatever reason, he would feel more comfortable being complimented by somebody that he felt was more authentic. So I would say, when it comes to him, that that's what you would need to work on. You would need to work on the authenticity of your relationship. Now, very often, I find that an easy way to do that is to show your belly a little bit. Be vulnerable. Show your vulnerabilities. And oftentimes, don't compliment, but ask for advice. Ask for his opinion. Here's something that will always be true. People like to be questioned on how to do things. People like to feel like experts. So that's what I would say. I feel like the issue between the two of you is the relationship in and of itself, and not necessarily the compliments. Unless you have really crappy compliments. I mean, maybe there's that. Maybe your compliments are like, hey, nice haircut, dick. And his name's Richard, but you just say it in that dismissive dick way where you're like, yeah, hey, nice stapler, dick. Hey, that's a real lovely picture of your vacation to Mexico, dick. Maybe it's that. So, yeah, it's either everything I said before or you're dismissively saying your coworker's name, Dick, in a way that sounds like you're referring to him as a penis. Will writes, I just learned that the new Color Weezer album is out, the White Album, a few weeks ago. Not only did I miss that, but now I realize that you haven't talked about it on JuRY. So what are your thoughts about Weezer's White Album? King of the World has particularly stuck with me, but I'm still mixed overall. Your analysis of Back to the Shack from 2014's Everything's Going to Be All Right and general Weezer talk is one of my favorite bits of the show. You don't talk too much about music, but when you do, especially as deeply as you love Weezer's return to form, it's a joy. I listened to half the album, and I didn't stop listening to it because I didn't like it. I stopped listening to it because I had to leave. But I liked what I heard. I think if there's Weezer's in a weird spot where it's like they kind of get punished for being too different, and I hate them when they're too pandery. Like when they're just trying to do the same exact kind of like rock music that they've always done, or when they kind of went on their like their top 40 swing. So I like this. I mean, like, Rivers Cuomo is an amazing songwriter, and he has this knack for writing about very, very human experiences, these very organic human kind of emotions. And there's a lot of that on this album. I think it tends to get a little pandery, like with like Thank God for Girls, and it gets a little. I mean, it gets on. We teeter into like, are you rapping, Rivers? Like in terms of his delivery, but he's always had a little bit of that. So yeah, I like it. I just have to. I can't emotionally get too close to Weezer because they mean so much to me as a band that if they disappoint me, I feel bad about myself, if that makes sense. It's just too close. It's too close. And they went through that stretch where I just hated the music they were doing and I felt bad about it and I just had to separate myself because I am linked. I am one. We are Venom. Eric wrote, first off, you asked everybody to share their fantasy races. I've always seen myself as an elf rogue. Thank you. I'm perceptive, pretty good with my hands, and surprisingly good with a bow. And I also kind of have pointy ears. But anyway, here's my question. I've been at my current job for a few years now. Another guy, Steve, started at the same time, and we went through training together. Steve is a great guy. He's a gnome wizard, by the way. We usually eat lunch together. Chat about things outside of work, and he's always there with a smile with a morning, Nick. How's it going, Nick? Good, or have a good weekend, Nick. The problem is that his name, or that my name isn't Nick. Okay, so Steve is calling Eric Nick, for those of you keeping track. At first, I thought I misheard him. It's loud and hectic, and I usually have other things to worry about. Or maybe he just got confused. But no, he definitely calls me Nick, even though it clearly says Eric on my ID badge and on all my paperwork. I don't mind being called the wrong name. It's actually kind of funny, but I would hate for it to actually cause confusion at work or lead to issues with another guy whose name is actually Nick. So, do I correct him after over 2 years? Or do I let my boss know that if he mentions Nick, there's a good chance he means me? Or do I have my name legally changed? What do I do? This is a great one. All right. You just got to let this ride. Now, I can tell by the way that you're writing your email that there is a little OCD part of your brain that doesn't want to let this go. That is just like, oh, God. I mean, like, I'm kind of cool with it, but, like, my little pattern-recognizing brain just wants to... I mean, if I could just make sure that would... Okay, right over there. Yeah, Nick, make that Eric, and we're good. But you gotta let this roll. Because I'm going to tell you what. There's no way that this ends that's not a positive when it comes to your friendly work relationship with Steve. Because either Steve knows that you're really Eric, but he calls you Nick, and it's a nickname, literally. Or he is actually screwing up, and when it eventually comes to light, you can be like, yeah, man, nah, I've known it. It's totally cool. So ultimately, you are in the driver's seat. Unless there's some issue, but even then, he's going to be blamed if there's an issue. There's no reason why you should say anything about this. You just got to write it. And maybe, let me ask you this. Like, does Nick suit you? Do you like Nick? How is this Nick fellow? Maybe you would live all your life. There's been a little Nick inside of you just screaming to get out. All right, here we go. This is our main event. Anonymous Diamond writes, I guess I should start from the beginning. I'm 28 and I've never had anything like a proper relationship with a girl. I've always been extremely awkward and shy. There was one girl I sort of dated, but I'm pretty sure she was mostly using me to get back at her ex. She dumped me about 3 weeks later. This is all to say that I've been lonely for a very long time. Then I met Amy. We work in the same office together, but for different companies. We have a lot in common and started chatting all the time. I even recommended FSL Tonight to her because I think she'd be into it. Yikes. I added editorially. We hit it off really quickly. Side note, is that a British phrase? No, well, we say hit it off out here too. And I actually talked to her about life and feelings and my depression. And she actually listened and cared. If it's not already obvious, I fell for her hard. I thought I might actually have a chance for the first time in my life since there was definite chemistry. So I asked her out for a drink after work about a week or so ago. We ended up going to meet her friends in a pub later that evening. It was going pretty well. Her friends were nice, and I was managing conversation pretty well. Another thing that I'm terrible at. Then, out of the blue, she starts kissing one of her male friends. Then out of the blue, it happened so fast, I didn't really know how to react. She gave me this look afterwards and was really apologetic, like she knew she was doing it to me and regretted it. I should have left then, but I stayed and ended up getting blackout drunk, so the rest of the evening is pretty fuzzy. Hungover the next morning, I admitted my feelings over text. So here's where I need advice. I still have feelings for her. Super strong feelings. We still chat all the time, in the office and over text. And I still feel the chemistry between us. We sometimes have these long, lingering looks that I swear mean something, but she definitely is dating this guy. She's going to meet his parents next week in Ireland for a surprise birthday. I'm trying to be an adult about it and just think of her as a friend, but the jealousy is killing me. Am I misreading her? What should I do? I want to ask her if I have a chance, but I'm terrified of effing up the friendly relationship that we have now. I don't want to make her feel like she has to choose. Anonymous! Anonymous! Killing me, Anonymous. Chat room's already got this one. They already know what I'm going to say. Because right now, what you have is everybody listening to this show, and they are yelling at the movie screen like, we'll skip that analogy. Run! Run! Get out! Get out! Run away! As fast as you can. Run for your life. Here's the reason. You've admitted to yourself that you have not had a lot of relationships. So I'm going to go ahead and spill some beans for you. All right? Get ready. There's beans going to go all over the place. Number one, a lot of the feelings that you are having for not only this girl, but also this jagged relationship that you have is you imprinting your lack of experience on this hard data. Meaning that you are, there's a lot that's going through your mind. Is this what it would feel like to have a girlfriend? Is this what betrayal feels like? Is this what a long lingering look that I swear to God means something looks like? Right? Like, there's just a lot going on for you right now. Now, maybe all this is true. And maybe at some point when she's out in Ireland going for the surprise birthday party, she walks into some a pub toilet and sees her erstwhile boyfriend banging out some barmaid, right? And she realizes that he's a total POS and that really it's that soft, sweet boy from the office that she really needs to be with. Maybe that's the case. Either way, the best thing that you can do is to get a healthy perspective on this relationship by not talking to her. Now, here's where girls tend to get mad at me when I talk about stuff like this. Because it's rough to be a girl sometimes. We have a weird society that has a lot of expectations on girls, and very often they are put in the situation where they have to be the bad guy. You know? So here we go. Let's be empathetic to this woman. Let's say that she really enjoys your company. And maybe in another world, you know, like you would be boyfriend material. But there's this hot Irish dude that she's really had her eye on for a while. And by the time that she realized that you were really interested, she was already lip locking with, you know, Jiggles O'Houlihan or wherever. The point is, you got to get away. You got to process this data that you have before you go out collecting new data. Because I'm just going to let you know, if you don't cool this jet a little bit, it's not going to make for a good platonic friendship with her. You're not going to get a lot out of it, and she is not going to get a lot out of it. Right? Or worse, let's read some negative and malicious intent into this girl. Maybe you're just kind of hanging around. I've had friends, good friends. I had a friend of mine that used to she knew that there were some sad sack dudes that were like always like just kind of like hovering around her, and she led these poor saps on forever. Literally never given up a piece of nothing at all, ever. And then she'd date terrible human beings. Terrible people. Like awful. Like just not good people at all. And these clean-cut, nice guys would just stay buying her coffee. I used to call them the menagerie, because it was just a very well-manicured group of very docile, well-trained companions. So you really want to avoid that. You really want to avoid being a menagerie animal. But let's assume that she is not the same kind of cold-hearted wench that my friend is. She would even like she would do this stuff where they go out. This is my friend. They go out and get drunk, and then she would sleep with them in the same bed and just take satisfaction that she could feel that they had hard-ons. Cruel and unusual. Like, this is so let's say she's not that. She's not that. She could be. But let's say she's not. She's not. She's a sweet girl. She just happens to be wrapped up in a lot of stuff. You got to get better perspective about who you are. You got to get better perspective about what signals you were sending to her. You got to get a better perspective about how honest you were. And for God's sakes, do not embarrass yourself. Do not embarrass yourself by getting, admit your feelings. Good. Here's why you really need to run. You need to run because you've already admitted your feelings. You've said what you need to say, and that's it. Because even if she is like, oh, but we were such good friends. You're like, listen, I really have feelings for you, and I got to process those before I can really be a good friend to you. And I know that sucks, but you want to know what? Life's a terrible car crash, and we're in the middle of it. So that's what I would say. You got to get away. The weird thing about my friend is that she's actually a really good person. I mean, man, I guess, I don't know. She's a really good person. She's like one of my best friends. I always found that weird, though. But here we go. This is where I would never tell her to, like, oh my God, you have to stop that. That's so unbearably cruel, because I felt better that I would not be in that situation. So there's that hierarchy thing, right? It was like the fact that was happening, I was like, oh, look at these simps out here buying these lattes, not getting any pussy. Ooh, I would never do that. And meanwhile, I'm heel-clicking my way through life. Oh, jeez. What a loser. You can email this show, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Again, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Remember, write in, as the stripper told us at Vixen's in Davie, Florida, everybody is a fantasy race and class. So think about it. And what was our other homework? Oh, reject something. Reject something this week that you wouldn't normally reject. That's your homework. And write in. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Of course, Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat is Justin R. Young. You can join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me on yet another edition of the Justin Robert Young podcast. Until next time, I am your old pal, Justin Robert Young, begging, pleading, wishing for you to please don't.
you have enjoyed this program.